Hi, I'm John Stevenson, and we're going to be continuing our study of the book of Exodus. We're coming to chapter 4, verses 1 through 17, as I've entitled, Beating Around the Burning Bush. We left Moses. He'd come from Midian to Mount Sinai in his shepherd days, and there he had encountered God in a burning bush. In the presence of God, with the burning bush, God had revealed his plan to Moses. I'm sending you back to Egypt to deliver the Israelites. And so he had given his commission to Moses, after which Moses had come up with all sorts of excuses why he was not the man for the job. So excuse number one, Moses had said, I'm not qualified, and God had replied, well, I'm going to be with you, and I'm more abundantly qualified than any could be. And God gave as his sign, when you come back with the Israelites, you'll worship God at this mountain. That brought the second excuse of Moses. God says, I don't know, or Moses says, I don't know enough. I don't even know your name. And God says, well, my name is I am that I am. It's sort of a play on the name of God, what we sometimes call Yahweh. I am the one that I am, or we could translate that, I will be who I will be. And then as a sign, God says, you'll plunder the Egyptians. You'll collect 400 years of back pay. This brings up Moses' third excuse. Well, they won't believe me when they hear. I'm going to say that God met me and gave me this commission, and they're going to say, yeah, right. So Exodus chapter 4, verse 1, here's that excuse. Then Moses said, what if they will not believe me or listen to what I say? For they may say, the Lord has not appeared to you. The Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? And he said, a staff, a stick. That's something that a shepherd would carry. Then he said, throw it on the ground. So he threw it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from it. I don't blame Moses one bit. I might have still been running. Verse 4, but the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand and grasp it by its tail. It was easy to throw it down. It's a little more complicated to pick it up. But he stretched out his hand and caught it, and it became a staff in his hand. And notice God saying that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. This was a sign that was given to Moses. The Lord furthermore said to him, now here's a second sign, now put your hand into your bosom. So he put his hand, presumably under his cloak, into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous, like snow. And now I'm not saying that this is necessarily our modern, what we call leprosy today, but it's what they called leprosy back then, because the Greek Septuagint has the word lepro. It's that same word where we get our word leprosy from. So our use of the word might have changed a bit. But it was a skin disease, and notice it made his hand like snow. It turned the color of his skin, very, very like bleached white. Verse 7, then he said, put your hand into your bosom again. So he put his hand into his bosom again, and when he took it out of his bosom, behold, it was restored like the rest of his flesh. Another obvious sign. Verse 8, if they will not believe you or heed the witness of the first sign, they may believe the witness of the last sign. But if they will not believe even these two signs or heed what you say, then you shall take some water from the Nile and pour it on the dry ground, and the water which you take from the Nile will become blood on the dry ground. So 3 signs. Now, his third excuse had been, they will not believe me, and God said, throw down your rod, and gave first the gift, the sign of the rod, and then the sign of the hand, and finally the sign of this water turned to blood. So 3 different signs are given by way of answer. Now we come to Moses' fourth excuse. He's going to say, I'm not eloquent. Here it is, chapter 4, verse 10. Then Moses said to the Lord, please, Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither recently nor in time past. This wasn't a new phenomenon. He says, for since you have spoken to your servant, for I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. That doesn't mean he didn't know how, couldn't put words together, but he had trouble getting them out of his mouth. He was able to write them down. I've had students like that who could write beautiful papers, and yet to stand up and speak in front of a group was very difficult for them. And that seems to be what Moses is describing here. Verse 11, the Lord said to him, well, who has made man's mouth? Or who makes him mute or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now then go, and I, even I, will be with your mouth and teach you what you are to say. So Moses, his excuse had been, I'm not eloquent. God's answer, who made men's mouths? And God says, I'm going to be your mouth. I will be with you, and that will be enough. Moses comes up with excuse number 5. Notice 5 excuses. That's significant in the Torah, which has 5 books in it. His 5th excuse, send somebody else. Here it is, chapter 4, verse 13. But he said, please, Lord, now send the message by whomever you will. Well, God already said who it was going to be. Then the anger of the Lord burned against Moses, and he said, is there not your brother Aaron the Levite? I know that he speaks fluently, and moreover, behold, he's coming out to meet you. When he sees you, he'll be glad in his heart. You are to speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I, even I, will be with your mouth and his mouth, and I will teach you what you're to do. Moreover, he shall speak for you to the people, and he will be as a mouth for you, and you will be as God to him. Ever notice everyone gets sort of an acting promotion. Moses is going to be acting as if he's not God. God is God, but Moses is going to be acting toward Aaron as if Moses is God, and then Aaron's going to be acting toward the people as if Aaron is Moses. Verse 17, you shall take in your hand the staff with which you shall perform the signs. Don't forget the signs. So that God speaks through Moses, who speaks through Aaron, who speaks to the people. And today we have a mediator, Jesus Christ, who speaks from God to us, but then gives us his Spirit that abides within us. So his excuse, send somebody else, and God's answer, Aaron will go with you, and God's sign, he's coming to meet you. In fact, he says to us, lo, I am with you always.